Welcome back to Airsoftology Mondays, the show that answers your questions and gives you all the tech tips you're looking for. I'm your host, Jonathan Higgs. We are back. Another week's gone by and we've got a ton of great new questions. You guys are really pouring them in and I really appreciate that. Before we get kicked off, I want to make sure you guys know how to submit your questions to the show. It's simple, right here below. Just put a comment in the comment section. I check them every single week and some of the highest voted ones or very creative questions will get voted up and added to the show. And also, if you guys are a little shy in the comment section below, you can also tweet me direct at Airsoftology is my Twitter handle. Just hit me up over there. I'll be keeping an eye on it as well. But without any further ado, let's get into your questions. Tanks Trollan writes, for players entering the world of LiPos and version 2 mech boxes, what to upgrade internally? Well, LiPos are kind of a tricky question. If you guys have not watched it, I've got a great LiPo C rating video you can watch right here that kind of explains the differences of what a C rating is, which is really inherent to the question you're asking. A lot of guns are LiPo ready. Now that means a lot of different things based on that C or current rating. Most guns will take, for example, a 7.4 LiPo at like 10 or 15 C output. No problem, no issue at all. You can run that LiPo on just about any airsoft gun, including like stock Tokyo Maruis for like a 10C74. But when you're talking about like 11 1 volt 20C or better LiPo, then you're really getting into those LiPo ready situations where that could be a lot of current coming into your gun. So it's more than just a straight answer. It's really what LiPo are you talking about? And like I said, the video is a good place to start to understand what C rating is. And of course, there's always voltage. We know bigger the voltage, higher the rate of fire, and a little more wear and tear on that internals. But take a look at the gun really and see if it is considered LiPo ready and what the manufacturer recommends. Guns today, for the most part, are going to accept a broad range of batteries, including like 11 110C LiPos. So you could be in a good spot and not have to do much on the upgrading side. If you do, it depends on the gun. If it's like an older gun or like a Tokyo Marui or something that's not designed for that level of performance, you can really go down the rabbit's hole and upgrade a lot of parts. So it really depends on the exact model you're looking at. And that's why I'd really recommend maybe speaking to a tech or someone who knows your gun specifically that could help lead you in the right direction. Colin C. Music writes, do you work with anyone on Airsoftology or are you forever alone? Yeah, I'm forever alone. Actually, there are a few people behind the scenes that help out with the reviews, especially in areas where I'm not the absolute best in or can fill in the gaps. One that you may or may not know of, if you guys listen to the podcast, you'll know Steve. He's still part of the family here with Airsoftology and jumps in and helps out quite a bit, especially for operations and events. He'll tag along. And then another one's Patrick, a buddy of mine, will come in. He really gets these crazy gun builds and kind of goes wild with it. So yeah, there's more than just me, but 90% of the time or better, it's usually me behind the camera, in front of the camera, and doing Airsoftology as a whole. Airsoft Reviewer HD writes, how'd you get into YouTube video making? You know, it really started with the podcast. We started adding in video at the request of the listeners. Some people wanted to have like a longer format video they could watch. And this was back before YouTube allowed real long videos, like anything below or more than 15 minutes. So we moved it over to Vimeo. And I was doing that for a while, and then it kind of moved into reviews, and it kind of evolved from there. And guess what? It's where we are today with Airsoftology Mondays, all the review videos, and then a little bit of gameplay, which I'm going to start picking up here shortly. And I've got a couple more segments they're going to be adding in, but I'm not going to give those away just yet. The Dirty Dirt McGirt writes, come on man, all that talk about Airsoft innovations, yet there's no mention of the Airsoft Innovations oil pump kit. Yep, I did forget that one because I don't own it. I need to pick one of those up. It's a really cool invention. Airsoft Innovations is really on the edge when it comes to green gas alternatives. And the way it works is you actually siphon out a little silicone oil using this little pump thing and you inject it into your propane tank. So it actually adds the lubricant just like green gas into the propane tank. It's a really neat tool and absolutely, I did forget that on my list, but thank you for catching it. Ryan writes in, hey Airsoftology, can you give us a link to print out the brown gas label so we can put it on our cans too? Absolutely, man. I'll get you the link. It's right here. You can click it. It'll take you over to the website. I'll have it full size with the crop marks and everything so you can cut it out and stick it on your green gas cans. It'll be set for most of the standard green gas cans out there like the Elite Force Fuel, the King Arms KWA, those like that. Also, if you guys can't click the annotations or don't want to save it here, just check down in the show notes below. I'll have it down there for you as well. Well, that's it for all the questions this week, and that means it is time for your tech tips. Real Sick Callan writes, "Hey Jonathan, one of the screws in my M4 receiver is stuck. For some reason, the screw likes to rotate with the pin, so I can't take it out. I'm looking to upgrade my hop up, and I can't do that if I can't get my gun apart. What do you recommend I do?" So yeah, I've actually seen that before. It's actually kind of common. I think, don't quote me, G&P or G, I think it's G&G, uses the two-piece body pins that don't have like an Allen key or a flathead slot to work with. I think it's G&P. So what I do first chance I get is swap those out, because over time they can get seized, or if you torque them down really tight. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's the body pins like here if you need to slide the upper off, or if you have a gun that hinges open, it'll be the back one. You'll leave the front one intact, pop the back one through, and vice versa if you have a gun like this. This is a LiForce 4 CRS, which is a VFC based gun. I've really switched to these because the pins literally just push through. They look like a real AR. They kind of work the same way. So you can kind of tap them through with the hammer and they'll stay locked into the gun, into that lower receiver, but you can just push them through. You don't have to worry about unscrewing them. But to your point, needle nose pliers will sometimes help, but sometimes that domed head on the screw can be a pain to grab. So in the worst case scenario, if you really have to do it, what I would recommend doing is getting a Dremel, if you can, and cutting a flathead slot into it. Literally slicing that screw down the center, not so deep that you cut it in half, but just enough to etch in a notch where you can use a flathead screwdriver to apply the torque on the other end. Then once you get it off, check out some other of the body pins. You can find them online. I think Mad Bull made some twisting lock pins a while back that are kind of like this one here on the VFC where you push through, except it goes in and it locks. I think it was Mad Bull. And there are some other companies you can get different screws. Also, check with your local shop if you got one. The tech counter usually has a lot of spare parts. See if you can buy an extra screw just to fit. Most of these are standard threads and they're going to be interchangeable. I know Classic Army uses like an Allen key type screw, which is really great. At least in their older guns they did, where you could have an Allen key on both ends. KWA did the same thing as well, that you could use the Allen key so you could really torque these things if they get locked down. But overall, you really just got to get a grasp on it. If not the needle nose, try vice grips, like the channel locks, the ones that lock into place. Try to get the sharp ones of those, get around it and lock it into place, and that way you can get a good grip on it, and then you can work the backside and try to get that screw out. So good luck on that. Hope the tip helped for you. Also, since we're kind of on the subject of getting guns apart, another tip I want to give here too, if you guys are using a VFC like this and you've had a lot of trouble getting the top off, remember on any of these guns that have like the bolt catch that's functional, where you can lock it back and then press it in and it slaps it forward. Some of the electric blowbacks are the same way. If you're having trouble getting your upper off the gun, even though you have the pin pushed through and you're sliding, the front pin pushed through and you're sliding this thing off and the door is going to be open, when you get to a certain point and get stuck, try to shut the door. Typically that'll push it off. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 tech tip to get into your gun if you're running into problems getting the upper off the lower part of the receiver. And that's one that actually gets me every once in a while when I forget about it. The old gotta shut the dust cover to get it the rest of the way off if you're running like a VFC gun or any of the other guns that have that functional bolt catch. All right, with the tech tips out of the way, it's time for the video recommendation of the week. And this week, it's more of a channel than an actual video, but you're gonna wanna start with this video right here, the one that I got playing over my shoulder, and it comes from Chris, Warfighter Airsoft, or Chris Bast, if you guys know him personally. He's on the West Coast, a California guy, and he's Marine Corps retired. He's actually out of the Marine Corps, and he's been playing Airsoft. And he also runs Warfighter Airsoft, which is an organization that helps soldiers readapt to civilian life by using Airsoft as a tool to overcome their PTSD. But that aside, his videos are actually really good because what he does with his gameplay videos, it's not just talking about the gameplay and the actions happening at the moment. He actually gives you kind of a step-by-step and a bit of insight into what's going on into his mind with the tactics that he's doing during the game. So I've been watching these and I've been learning a lot of why you moved to this point and what are you doing to defend this section and why should you retreat from fire at this point. It's been great for someone like me who never served to really learn the tactics and the strategy of combat. I've been really picking up a lot of great tips and I'm hoping to use them in the next Milsim event I play at. But his channel over there is Callsign Hollywood. If you guys don't know it, I'll have a link here in the description. Of course, you can click this right here, the annotation that'll work. Either one, whatever works for you guys, depending on what you're watching this on, but definitely worth the watch because these are some great videos. Well, that's it for this episode of Airsoftology. And as always, if you guys want to get your question answered on the show, it's simple. Just put a comment in the section below right here, and I look at all those, I check them all out. And if you guys are voting them up, if you find something you like, hit that little like button and it'll pull it to the top of the pile. And that way I can get those questions answered on the next show. Also, if you guys aren't a fan of the comment section, don't forget you can always tweet me over at Airsoftology. It's my Twitter handle, and I'll be taking requests over there for your tech tips and your questions. Also, don't forget to hit the web store at airsoftology.com/store. We got some patches over there if you guys are checking out, like high caps, mid caps, kind of little tongue-in-cheek humor on that. And then of course our logo patch, and I got some new stuff on the way. And as always, really appreciate subscribe right down here. If you guys like the channel, hit that subscribe button. Would love to have you here as a regular subscriber for the show. Well guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you hanging out, and remember, we'll see you next week. But until then, play hard, play fair, and call your freaking hits.